The title of my talk today is A Million Dreams a Minute. So I have a couple things to tell you. First of all, how many thoughts do you think you have during a day, Emma? Wait, you think you have 325 thoughts a day? That's like in the first couple hours. So anybody? Mindy? 50,000? Perhaps. Who said that? Tiffany? Yeah, you definitely. You do. A million? Okay. Okay. So according to science, we have between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. And according to scientific research, 80% of those are negative. What do you think about that? It's scary. I don't particularly buy it, but I think it's possible. I think there are those people walking around who 80% of their thoughts are negative. But here's the other this is the stunning fact. 95% of your, let's say, 60,000 thoughts a day are repetitive. Repetitive. We're thinking the same stuff every single day. We just keep thinking, keep thinking, keep thinking. We keep regurgitating the same thoughts. So that means you are thinking 35 to 48 thoughts a minute. Now think about that. 35 to 48 thoughts a minute. So it takes a couple of seconds to have a thought. Couple of seconds. Now let's talk about dreams. The average person has 3 to 5 dreams a night. Did you know that? Whether you remember them or not, you have 3 to 5 dreams a night. On a really good night, you could have up to 7 dreams a night. And some of these dreams, all of these dreams happen only at a certain state. Obviously, they can check your brain scan to see when you're breathing. That's how they've done this research. So when you get to a certain level of sleep, that's when the dreams happen. And that level could go from 2 to 3 to 4 to even 5 hours of REM, where you have these dreams. And you could dream up to 7 dreams, and they get intertwined, and some of them end and start over. Do you ever wake up and you're in like this have you ever woken up just as you're about to win the Tony Award? I have. Just as they're about to call my name, and I know it. And I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, it wasn't true. Go back to sleep, go back to sleep. Go back and finish it. And then you go back to sleep and you're in an alley doing something else and you're like, wow, what happened to the Tony? So this is what our dreams are like. So what are dreams? 2 definitions. A series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep. That's what we think of dreams. But it's also this, a cherished aspiration, an ambition, or ideal. A cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. So here's one of my first questions to you today. Do you think it's possible to have a million dreams a minute? A million dreams a minute, that's my title. Do you think it's possible to have that many dreams of the aspirational type? That many desires for yourself? That many images of what your life, what your life is going to be, how you're going to unfold it? Is it possible? Because I would suggest that if it's possible for us to have a million dreams a minute, we would get rid of that 95% of same old, and we'd get rid of the 80% of negative thinking. So the question becomes, what dreams do you have? How many? How big does the life you want to live seem to you? And are you stuck somehow in a life that you've lived thus far? Thus the title of our theme this month, Reborn. So, if 95% of your thinking is repetitive, what would it take for your thinking not to be repetitive? I mean, what would it take? What would cause you to be able to start thinking differently? You have a habitual way of thinking. We call it an AEP, your already established premise of life. Your already established premise is life is this, and I think based on that premise. I remember when I was first moving to New York, I was there to take Broadway by storm. That's all I thought of. My Broadway show. I will get a Broadway show. I had one in 2 years. It was just like, I'm going to get a Broadway show. That was what's in my mind over and over and over. We talk about repetitive. It was 99% in my head. This is what's going to happen. Nothing's going to stop me. And then I got it. And then I was like, okay, that was fun. I had a nice number at the top of Act 2. I want to be a star of a Broadway show. That took another 2 years. But I kept thinking it. And then as I shared with Reverend Suzanne, the idea of getting an audition that goes south, now I have something else that's in my head. Now that's part of my repetition. Oh, so if I go, I could possibly not get it. Or it can be taken away from me at the last minute. That shoe can drop at any time. Creating these core beliefs that keep building themselves up in my body, my mind, my soul, to the point where that's how my life is being lived. So this month, our theme is reborn. If there's one thing I know about P.T. Barnum in The Greatest Showman, having played Barnum, is that he was a metaphysician. P.T. Barnum was a metaphysician. You know, in the musical I did, my opening song was called There's a Sucker Born Every Minute. And I used to have a hard time in the beginning rehearsing that because I'm like, he never said that. This was attributed to him, but he never said it. He was a metaphysician. What he really meant is more like The Greatest Showman, that our imaginations can create anything. That was P.T. Barnum. So I want to read some of these lyrics that these guys that we all just sang. Because every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head, a million dreams are keeping me awake. So if every night I lie in bed with the brightest colors in my head, do I have to have an amazing day of bright colors in order for me to lie in bed at night and see those bright colors? Because I have a feeling that when you go to bed, possibly, I don't want to be, judgmental, but I have a feeling some of you go to bed at night reliving what happened during the day. And most of the time, you tend to relive the things that didn't go the way you wanted them to. So you're laying there in bed, and you're thinking about, oh, I wish that had happened. Why didn't this happen? Why didn't that happen? So if every night I lie in bed with the brightest colors in my head, that means I need to be actively deciding that that's what's going into my head tonight. That's how I'm ending this night. One of the things we do in CPR is at the end of the day, right when you lay down to go to bed, you need to come up with 3 things that you were grateful for the day. 3 things that you maybe didn't even realize happened. And search your day and find the 3 things that you are so happy happened that day, so grateful for. What's the purpose of that? It's a nice exercise, but the purpose for that is so that every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. The positive stuff fills my head. And a million dreams are keeping me awake. So my question to you is, Nate, what is keeping you awake at night? You don't have to answer me. Your mother's here. What is keeping you awake at night? What is keeping you, Mindy? What is Daniel, Reverend Suzanne? You ladies, what's keeping you awake at night? What are the dreams? What are the things inside of you that just bubble up and you can't? This song is so fabulous in the way it is composed. It just keeps, especially when you get to Mindy's part, and it's like, however big, however small, I just want to be a part of all of this. How's your thirst? If this month is about being reborn, and you know how many thoughts you have a minute, an hour, a day, how many dreams you're capable of, what are you going to dream up this month? What are you going to be reborn into this month? What are you going to be willing to let go of? Because you just don't need it anymore. Why go to bed bringing up the dullest colors in your head? Why go to bed thinking of all the gray, dark moments of your day? All you're doing is putting yourself into dream world so that those dreams match the way you go to bed at night. So, going on with the lyrics, I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see, a million dreams is all it's going to take. A million dreams for the world we're going to make. So, what world are you making for yourself? This song has very profound lyrics. When he talks about, I think of what the world could be, and I can see the vision of the one I see, but it's going to take a million dreams. But I love that he says, not it's going to take a million dreams. It's a million dreams is all it's going to take. That's all it's going to take you. All it's going to take you is to start using your mind properly. Start using your mind from truth, not from the relative facts. And You know, when we look at our world right now, got very emotional. We see so much hatred being spewed across a political aisle, from race to race. We see so much discord, so much discomfort. Is that how we want to go to bed at night? With MSNBC telling us what just happened in that next state it happened in? No, of course I want to know what's going on in my world. But what dreams do I have? Is that how I see the world? And if you're in a place where and I hear this a lot, if you're in a place where you're hearing, I just don't see it getting any better, or some of the quotes that have come up, it's going to get worse before it gets better. First of all, don't buy that. Don't buy into that, because you're just using the relative facts to say that. Because guess what? A million dreams is all it's going to take to heal all of this. That means a million dreams in Daniel, Mindy, Luke, Nate, all of us. Each one of us must start using our minds if we want to see a different world, a world that I know I want to see. Lady Gaga, of course we bring her up today, Lady Gaga said this, "I am my own sanctuary, and I can be reborn as many times as I choose throughout my life." You are your own sanctuary. Your mind is your sanctuary. In your mind, no one else is there. No matter what's happening to you out here, in your mind, you're the only one in there. You invite people into your mind if you have negative thoughts. You invite those thoughts in. I love how Lady Gaga, when she says this, I can be reborn as many times as I choose throughout my life. So this month is about being reborn. You have the opportunity this month to live the life you want to live in a world you want to live in. And I don't want to hear, but that world doesn't exist. Yes, it does, because that world exists in your mind. You can be happy no matter what. You can be successful no matter what. You can be prosperous no matter what. The only reason you don't believe it is because you're believing this out here. So you got to listen to Lady Gaga, who is a very smart metaphysician, who says, I can be reborn as many times as I choose. So let's start choosing how we want to be reborn this month, today, in this moment. I loved watching Lady Gaga when she was doing the promos for Star is Born. And she showed up on Jimmy Kimmel, and she's sitting there, and she kind of looked like her character in A Star is Born. And so she wasn't the Lady Gaga at all. And he looked at her and he went, it must be so wonderful for you to be able to strip all that away and just sit here as yourself. And her answer, it still makes my hair stand up. She looked at him and she went, this is the character. That's my true self. She said, I'm here to dress like this because I'm marketing a movie where I played this character looking like this. She said, every outfit I walk out on stage in, no matter how crazy it is, that is who I am authentically in that moment. I was sitting there going, you go, girl. You tell us. You show us. You don't get boxed in. Mindy, you don't need to be boxed in by anybody's idea of who they think you should be. Nor do you, Reverend Suzanne, or you, Emily, Lila. So, Emma. I said Emily. God, I got the middle one right. But you don't have to listen to me tell you to change your name to Emily. Yeah. We don't have to let the world tell us who we are. But, and this is a big but, if we do, we can't blame the world for putting us there. So for all of us, and I do it sometimes, that can blame a certain person or a certain political party or a certain movement or a certain race, every one of us that thinks we have someone to blame for where we stand, we are sadly mistaken. Because to the degree that you believe that, to that degree, welcome home, because you're going to stay there. Because you somehow believe it's this out here that's designating what is this. So that's something to be reborn to this month. The understanding that you get to be reborn in every single moment, as the affirmation says, with every breath. And that's why I asked Reverend Suzanne that. What does it mean? Well, for me, it means every time I take a breath, if I have consciously said to myself, with every breath I am reborn, then I breathe a lot. Do y'all breathe a lot? I mean, we're all breathing, right? I hope everyone here is breathing. So every breath gives me the opportunity, I'm reborn again. I just did it again, and I'm reborn again. Every single breath. Take it to heart. It's not just a sweet little affirmation. It's something to take to heart. With every breath I am reborn. I don't have to hold on to anything or to be anything. Deepak Chopra says this: what has to die in your life in order for you to be reborn? So this is the other side of that. So I'm going to give you a minute just to think about it, Tiffany. What has to die in your life in order to be reborn? You know, this month, September 4th, is the anniversary of my mother passing. And when I think about that, and this year when it came up, which was, what's today's the 6th, 2 days of Friday, I did spend time with it and ask myself, I revisited when that happened and how I was 19 at the time. And I said to Kevin, I said, I don't understand it. The two most primary important women in my life, my mother and my daughter, I only had 19 years with each of them. 19 years with each of them. What are the odds that my mother died at 19? I had 19 years with her when I was 19. And then my daughter died when I only had 19 years with her. What is that? 19. And then when I was putting this talk together, and obviously Kevin couldn't answer that question. Neither one of us could. We just went, I don't know, but there's something there. I don't know what it is. And then I look at the Deepak Chopra quote, what has to die in your life in order for you to be reborn? Well, sometimes that's what has to happen in order to be reborn. Because we don't believe death has ended. That doesn't mean Nora's gone, my mother's gone. I think they're sitting somewhere now talking all about me. That's how I see it. All the good, of course. So I ask you, what has to die in you in order to be reborn? Is it a habit? Is it something physical in your body that you're done living that way? You're done treating your body badly? Is it a habit that you have? Is it a person that you have to let go of? That has to go away in order for me to be reborn. Is it a dream maybe that I had that I'm still holding on to and I have wrung every ounce of life out of it, but I'm still thinking I have to do it, and you need to just let it die away? What is it? What do you have to let go of in order to be reborn again? And frankly, it could also be a big one, your idea of who you are. Maybe you have to let go of the image you have of yourself. You know, as I get older, I realize that one of the things I have to let go of is the idea I have of my younger self, as though I still have to be that younger self. The other day, someone said to me how young I looked, and I realized in that moment how much I appreciate that, but how much I rely on that, on staying young. And no offense, but the young is overrated, because frankly, to get to 65, I've had a lot of living. I've enjoyed a lot of living. So I don't need to go back to when I didn't have any life yet. You know, they say youth is wasted on the young. I don't believe that. I think youth is exactly where it needs to be, and it's the exact right trajectory. So, but there's something I could let go of. The idea that I have to stay, you know, I have to keep making people think I look younger than I am. That is one of my things. I think you all know that. It's one of my things. But why? It's because there's a little something, and this is how this work works. This is how the work of Science of Mind works. Back it up. So I'm being really honest here today. This is very transparent. I will never live this down. If I have a need for people to say I look younger, what's the belief propelling that? That's the work. What's the belief? I'm old. I'm really old, you know, and as I stand here with a 14-year-old, you won't believe how old these kids are, but the redhead's 14, for those of you who won't know their names, and Luke is 16. Well, you know, I stand next to them, and first of all, they're 6 foot, what? 6'3" and 6'2", right? Four? Anyway, It's hard to not feel a little short, a little small, and a little old because they're 14 and 16, and I'm 65, and Mindy's in her 30s. So, no problem. So you can just what do you need? What needs to die for you to have an even better life? There's the question. If you want to be reborn to something, you have to be willing to let go of what you don't want to bring into the next life, into this next experience. Mahatma Gandhi said this, "Each night when I go to sleep, I die. And the next morning when I wake up, I am reborn." Each night when I go to sleep, I die. And the next morning when I wake, I am reborn. So there's an idea for your whole month. Every night when you go to sleep, be willing to just let go, to die to all the things you no longer want in your life. And when you wake up, remind yourself, I am reborn today. I am reborn. I am new today. I get to live my life anew today. So what needs to die tonight? And what will you give birth to tomorrow? This title of my talk, A Million Dreams a Minute. I don't expect you to have a million dreams a minute. But what if for this month, the month of September, which by the way is my birth month, so I will actually be 66 in a couple of weeks, which is where reborn comes from, because I believe every year on my birthday, I get to be reborn. It's like a whole new year. Don't you all feel that way? Like your birthday, you're like, yeah, a whole new year. But sometimes it just kind of goes the way the old year went. And then there's another year. Same thing for New Year's Day. It's like, New Year's, yes, I'm going on the diet. I'm stopping drinking. I'm doing all this stuff. I don't need to do that, but for those of you who do, all this stuff that's going to make my life better and better and better. And then somewhere around February, you're like, well, that didn't work. I'll wait till next January. So in this month, every single morning is New Year's Day. You wake up and you are reborn to something new. So when you go to bed, just ask yourself, what needs to die? And when you wake up, I am reborn. However, I need you to start looking at your dreams, your aspirations, your goals. And I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're Joe Jordan, 93, in Studio City. She has dreams. She has aspirations. She's still out there auditioning for things. What are your dreams? So maybe we can't do a million dreams a minute because we haven't learned to yet. It doesn't mean we don't have the capacity to. It means we haven't learned how to do it yet. But what if I ask you to just do this? Give me a dream a minute. One dream. One dream a minute. If you're going to have 60,000 thoughts, what if at least 50,000 of those thoughts are in support of your dream? It's a numbers game, folks. It's a numbers game. It's a percentage game. Where 51% of your thoughts are, that's where your life goes. So what if this month we just took a dream a minute? One dream a minute. Now, I'm not saying you should stand around all day going, here's my dream this minute. Here's my dream this minute, because you won't get anything done. Well, you will. You'll get a lot done. But if you have a job, you might be fired. So a dream a minute. Or perhaps, if you really thought I was going to leave you with a dream a minute, maybe a dream every day. Maybe when you wake up, you remind yourself of your dream, what your aspiration is, what the life you want to live is. And then you go about the business of seeing it. Because every night, I do lie awake with the brightest colors in my head. A million dreams keep me wide awake, not sleeping, awake. As the Buddha says, I am awake, don't go back to sleep. I am awake. So what are you going to wake up to this month? If every day you tell yourself, here's what I know about my life, and then go prove it. Because that's what we are. We get to prove our life. We get to prove that life is ours to live, right where we are. So every morning you wake up, I am reborn. This is what I see in my life. And then you go about the business of proving it. For yourself, for everyone around, and you watch how your energy, your vibration bubbles up, ripples out into the world. And the world you start seeing becomes the world you closed your eyes to see, that you put in your mind, and you said, this is the world I want to see. That energy is going to ripple out, and it's going to bring you the exact world you want to live in. And if more of us do that, if even just everyone who hears my voice does that, we will transform this world. And it will be a world that I want to see, a world that I get to design, you get to design. So let's spend this month designing our lives. I am reborn with each new breath. And so it is. Namaste. Oops.